SheEO is a place where I can learn what it means to be my full authentic self. I've recently been I was just sharing with the team at SheEO, I recently have been exploring, what it means for me to grow into a leader where from a place of my full authentic self, as opposed to my understanding of what good leadership looks like. And it's all of the wonderful members of this community that enable that for me. So thank you all. And for today, to open up, I'm going to pass it to Nat for our land acknowledgement. Over to you, Nat.
Thanks, Jenny. My name is Nat. I use she, her pronouns, and I am joining from the past, present, and future lands of the Anishinaabe, the Haudenosaunee, the Huron, Wendat, and the Mississaugas of the Credit. I wanted to share a couple weeks ago, maybe a month ago, with Tira Fraser, who is one of our ventures. We had an incredible session on Canada's shared history through an Indigenous lens. It was really a history lesson that we should all have received many, many years ago. At the end of this session, we wrote a poem together, each person standing in their responsibility. And I wanted to share it with you today because it's been sitting with me for a while. The poem reads, human to human, nation to nation, take action, hold space. It's a daily practice. It belongs to me and not to someone else. Community is the path to freedom, equity for all. Decolonizing is our responsibility. We are tired and we will continue. Dive into the water so the ripples carry far. We need to do this together. The mountain is so high and many have faced it, but we have the right tools to start climbing. Time to learn more. Begin with open heart and spirit. Listen, embrace the whole waves of truth as it rises. Thanks.
I love that. Thanks so much for sharing that. Actually, I would love to see a copy of that. If there's a link we can provide to folks in the chat, I know that would be great. And I love that as our opening because it feels so true to sort of what the future that we are trying to create through SheEO activators and ventures alike. So a little bit about today's call. What you're going to be able to do is you're going to be able to meet other community members of the SheEO community. You're going to be able to experience the SheEO magic yourself, and there'll be an opportunity to join the network as well. In terms of the format for today, you'll hear from an activator, Emily Johnson. We'll then move into some one-on-one pairs. We'll then have an overview of SheEO, followed by an update from Sarah Cox of Joey Band, which is a SheEO venture. We'll then move into our typical Ask It breakouts. If you don't know what those are, don't worry, we will provide context soon. And then we'll close with some reflections. But to kick us off, there's actually a new video that we wanted to share with you. And speaking of what SheEO means to all of us, I love this video because it provides a great snapshot as to what SheEO means to different members of our community. So over to you, Nat, for the video.
Six years ago, 500 women stepped in and followed the dream.
This is really a global network of change.
I want to build a legacy. You can't do that alone.
It gave us a vehicle to make the change that we wanted to see.
I found my people, right?
SheEO had to be created as a community because all of those other systems failed. And so the honesty around how really hard it is has been refreshing and inspiring.
They are serious when they say that they are interested and invested wholly on the well-being of entrepreneurs who are literally taking care of the world's to-do list.
If you need something for your business, please ask for it. This is your space, this is your time.
It didn't feel like closed doors anymore. It just felt like the more I asked, the more doors that opened.
We had the support we needed to finally believe in ourselves and grow.
I always knew that there was a different way to do business.
SheEO has put us on the radar for the federal government. Now we've just received over $500,000.
It's because of that group that I felt safe enough, that I felt strong enough to root down and to stand up and to ask for what I need.
We need your voices because our world is stuttering, and we need your wisdom and knowledge and your feistiness.
At SheEO, we often talk about how transforming systems start with transforming ourselves. And I do think that this work, this personal work that's often extremely uncomfortable, is really where we need to start.
And if you need a kick in the butt, dream it, design it, quit screwing around, and just do it.
We believe here at SheEO that everyone has something to give and contribute, no matter what age or stage you're at.
All of my dreams are coming true that I've been dreaming for a long, long time.
Amazing, right? I see some love in the chat. So great. I believe Nat's also going to post the link to the video in case there's other folks you think should watch it, so that they can also find us here as well. So with that, I'm going to actually pass it over to Emily Johnson, who is a SheEO activator, and she will be making a quick ask as well. Over to you, Emily.
I guess I should unmute there. Hi, everyone. My name is Emily. I've been an activator for just over a year now, and it was absolutely one of the best decisions that I ever made. As you've heard, I feel like the same. I've truly found a community where I can be me and where we can support one another as we work on the world's to-do list. And I'm also part of a newly formed group called the Storytellers Working Group, and we're coming up with ideas and new ways for us to share our stories and our impact. So within SheEO, you've already heard Chenny refer to it. We talk about something called SheEO magic, and it's not really something that I can explain to you, but hopefully it's something that you're going to experience today. And so with that in mind, the storytelling group had an idea for us to share our hashtag SheEO magic moments following today's call on your favorite social media platform. So as you go through today's call, please take note of those moments and please share them following today's call so we can help more women and non-binary individuals learn about SheEO and the work our community is doing. So that is my ask for today. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing, Emily. So great. Always lovely to hear from you. And with that, what we're going to move into shortly is our breakouts. So the reason why we love doing one-on-one breakouts is because in order for us to experience that magic, it really starts with us being in connection and in being in relationship with each other. So we wanted to provide a short opportunity to get to know someone in the community. So you might be meeting someone who is an activator, which for those of you who don't know what that means, basically means someone who contributes financially, regularly to enable the 0% loans that are sent out to ventures. So you could be matched with an activator, you could be matched with a venture. So such as myself, where we are one of the companies that are supported through SheEO, or a guest, someone who is curious and wants to learn more. So I believe these breakouts are going to be just for just shy of 5 minutes. I'm going to pass it over to Nat to open this up.
Thanks, Jenny. Enjoy your breakout. If you end up alone, give me a moment and I'll find you a buddy to hang out with. We'll see you back here in 5 minutes.
Okay, well, next up, we are going to hear from Hannah Cree, who is a SheEO venture and also entrepreneur in residence. I'm going to pass it to Hannah, and she's going to share a little bit about storytelling and inspiration setting for us. Over to you, Hannah.
Thank you, Chenny. Always good to see another SheEO venture. I want to welcome everybody on this call. I want to welcome you to opposite land. If this feels different, it should. This is a place where we trust the intuition of thousands of women and non-binary people who actually hold 80% of the buying power in the world to choose the type of services and products that they want to see, ones that have deep, deep social impact. I was selected as a SheEO venture in 2019, and I just am here to chat about what the model is and all of these different pieces. And, quite frankly, people ask why SheEO? Like, why is it around? Why do we need this? And it's because 2.2% of our funding goes to women ventures. And our Black women is 0.0006%, and our Indigenous women are not even being tracked, which means they're not being funded. And honestly, this is statistically impossible without biases and barriers that are set up into the system. The system was meant to be this way. And so at SheEO, we're not here to level the playing field. We're actually here to create a new one. And I really hope that you will join me on this kind of journey. You may hear different words today. With new models, we need new language. And so an activator is someone that gifts their money. It gifts $92 a month into a fund that funds ventures like myself and Chenny. And then it's paid back over 5 years and goes back in to fund more and more women and non-binary people that are working on incredible social impact. That's kind of like the base of the model, but I'll tell you that doesn't really share the experience of what happens here in this community. So when I was selected in 2019, I actually really didn't even understand, I guess, the impact or what radical generosity, which you'll hear a lot here, which is kind of like the core operating system at SheEO, really meant until COVID hit. I never will forget that in March 2020, my last physical event that I attended was the SheEO Global Summit, where I met Chenny. And I was also pitching a new pivot to my own model to the activators there. And I walked out of that global summit on fire. I had so many business cards in my hand. I had intros to 2 investors, and I was on top of the world. And then days later, the world came crashing down. And in a 1-week span, I went from shaking Justin Trudeau, our Canadian Prime Minister's hand at the SheEO conference, to literally losing 95% of my restaurant customers in a 1-week span. And we all have our different COVID stories to share, and mine hit me hard and fast. And that Monday, right when all that happened, I remember that SheEO put us, all the ventures, on a call. And we started to resource each other and figuring out who needed what and what will happen. For me personally, I was faced with laying off people that were already put to the margins because I employed people that faced homelessness and poverty. I was in tears just thinking about it. And I received a gift from A-Linker, another venture, to keep our doors open while we figured out what kind of resources that we could put in for our employees. We were able to redirect our trucks and take all that food from restaurants and put them into nonprofits during COVID. I got texts from Abigo and Isle and Soma Detect and Nada. So many of the ventures surrounded me. I encourage you to go check out the venture portfolio to see all the different things that are funded here. They're incredibly inspiring. I had conversations with so many different activators that supported me. The first thing I always hear on SheEO calls is, how can I help? What can I do? How can I show up for you? And the coaching from MJ, for me personally, saved my life. The crying and brainstorming with Vicky, the founder, and the team. And then the weekly community calls started at SheEO, and we started to practice our ask and give muscles with each other. So let me tell you this, the best thing, in my opinion, that ever happened to SheEO was actually COVID. The community was built for this moment, because nothing tests your core values like a global pandemic. And COVID only made us stronger and woke up women and non-binary people to the incredible inequities that we have in our systems. So today, I've been surrounded with radical generosity. And I think it's a word that a lot of times we're like, what does this mean? What does it look like? And in my most darkest moments, I remember calling Vicky and saying, what does it really mean to be radically generous in this hell of COVID? And she took a deep breath and she said, first, you need to be radically generous with yourself. What can you do for yourself today that is radically generous? What do you need? And so please feel free to, right now, activators, ventures, share and chat what radical generosity maybe means to you, or how you can be radically generous to yourself today, because that is what happens here at SheEO. And all of this money goes to fund businesses, transforming ourselves and transforming ourself first. So I invite you to show up as your full self, cry, laugh, rage, and then transform, because that's what happens here. I want to thank you for joining us, for funding ventures like myself. I would not have made it through this year, and I don't say it lightly, without the incredible support of this community. So welcome. Over to you, Chenny.
Thank you, Hannah. I love that prompt. What does being radically generous mean to you? Actually, if it's okay, I wanted to take a moment just to read some of the responses in the chat. Okay, so for Dana, radically generous with myself, recognizing when my body is telling me to slow down, I slow down instead of pushing through and becoming more exhausted. Yes, resonate deeply. Brenda, radical generosity to me means giving and receiving with my full heart. Beautiful. Love that, Brenda. Creating space for practice, not perfection. Yes, Sarah. I'm radically generous with myself by talking to myself in the mirror and knowing I've got this. Yeah, love it. Thank you, everyone. So great. And yes, Hannah, beautiful. Always such an inspiring and beautiful story. Thank you for sharing. And always thank you for your vulnerability. All right, next up, I wanted to introduce Sarah Cox of Joey Van. Joey Band is also a SheEO mentor, and I've had the pleasure of knowing Sarah for a few years now. What I love about Sarah, she is always eager to jump in and help. She shows up to every conversation, and the first thing that she asks is, "What can I do to help you today?" So with that, I want to pass it over to you, Sarah.
Thank you so much, Chenny. It's so nice to see your face and to see everyone's faces. So my name, as Chenny said, is Sarah Cox. I started out as a SheEO activator. And then actually it was SheEO that I met my co-founders. So a little bit about my story in Joey Band. So I'd been a SheEO activator for a couple of years. My background is in healthcare. I've been a part of a few startups. One was acquired, one we grew to about 140 employees. And I would make it a practice of mine almost every night before I went to bed to just pray that I would meet a woman in healthcare who had invented something really cool that I could help. And of course, I found that person. I found my co-founder in SheEO. We were at an event. I had received the list of ventures that we were looking at, and I was moving a mile a minute, and I just was going through and reading them, and I was like, wow, there's so many. And then my eyes jumped to this one, and it was Haley Mullins and Ashley Wade, and they invented this product called Joey Band. And I remember I reached out to Vicky and I said, Vicky, I have no idea if they're going to win the venture round, but I believe in their business. I love what they're doing. Can I reach out? And Vicky was like, of course. So I reached out, and two sisters actually became a part of my family, really. So Haley, my business partner, had invented Joey Band when she was doing skin to skin with her newborn baby. She didn't know the science behind it at the time. She just knew that it kept her really quiet, and she could sleep comfortably, and her baby startled and she hit the floor. So they took her newborn baby immediately to the hospital. The doctor looked at her and they said, this happens all the time. So what I love about Haley is her tenacity. She tried every product on the market. There was like wraps, carrier slings. There was nothing comfortable that could just quickly belt her sleeping baby to her. And that's really where she invented Joey Band. Then she went on to patent Joey Band internationally. We're patented in global markets. And then we really started pursuing the hospital route. So we found out that skin to skin is something that all hospitals encourage, especially in the first hour, but no one really knows the science behind it. It literally saves lives. So when you look at reducing hypothermia and hypoglycemia, infant mortality in preterm babies' brains can grow between 5 and 25 times faster when they're placed skin to skin. Throughout the 4th trimester, we found out babies were falling off of mom's chest at a rate in 1 in every 600 in the hospital, which would result, unfortunately, half of those falls would result in a skull fracture or worse. The other remainder were fatal. And so we were seeing lawsuits for, up to $45 million in the US. And so in the last 3 years, we've really put a big push into the healthcare market. SheEO, everyone, like Hannah said, everyone has a COVID story. SheEO was just phenomenal because we'd been selling into hospitals, like incredible hospitals, world-renowned hospitals, and then all of a sudden, doors started to close. Hospitals were losing about $9 million a day. And so we had to make a really quick pivot into online and retail, and we couldn't have done that without SheEO. SheEO helped us identify the company that we wanted to work with. They helped set us up for the initial 3 months of working with that company. It's a year later, and we've really grown our marketing, online sales, which was essential. We're now also getting back into healthcare, and healthcare has been blooming again, which is really important. if it wasn't for the SheEO community, I honestly don't know what we would have done. And a really recent example of that is we had, so we get our checks through the mail. That's how hospitals pay. And we had about $100,000 outstanding checks. They were in the mail, and we needed support because we were still getting orders in and we couldn't make product because we weren't getting our checks in. And we went to the SheEO Council. They voted and they helped supply a loan for us. And the process of that, working with the teams, the mentoring, the coaching, everyone has heard this, MJ, Vicky, the whole SheEO team really rallies behind you. And for me, the last thing I'll say, because I know I only have 5 minutes, but in the last year and a half, I've been working through having a really bad concussion. And that's taken a huge toll on our business too. And it's SheEO really steps forward in those unexpected moments in your life, like you're running a business, you're focused, and then you have something happen like a bad concussion and you think, what am I going to do? And it's when you're in those moments of what am I going to do that you always have a radically generous community to turn to. And that's something that I just have never experienced or seen before. So very grateful to be here, grateful to see all of you, familiar faces, some new, and hope to chat soon. Thank you.
Thanks, Sarah. Thanks so much for sharing your story. I hope you're feeling better as well. Sending love. All right. Well, now it is finally time for you to experience all the SheEO magic that we've been talking about, that Hannah, Sarah, Emily, that we've all been talking about. Now you're going to be able to feel it. So we're going to move into our Ask If breakout rooms. So a little bit about it in case you haven't done before. This is really an opportunity to connect with a smaller group on this call and to practice radical generosity, which we do through our Ask If format. Now, I just want to say that asking for things is much harder than giving things. Statistically true for everyone in our community. So I would encourage you, when you're thinking of what it means to be radically generous and how we talked about meaning radically generous to yourself, that also means giving yourself the courage and boldness to ask for what you need. So I'd encourage you to step into that if you're comfortable, or if you prefer to observe, that's all right too as well. So generally the prompts are, what's your ask? What's stopping you from doing your best work? And what's your give? What support can you share with others? And if it's your first time and you don't have an ask or a give, and instead you just have questions about how SheEO works, that's totally great too. Feel free to ask that of anyone in your group. Just know, by showing up and listening to the stories of others and even witnessing what their asks are, that by itself is already making an impact to their day. For anyone who has an asterisk by their Zoom name, we'll have a special group just for you for first-time guests. And finally, each group, please be prepared to come back with a 3-word summary of your conversation, and just for someone to share in the chat. That way we can kind of get a sense of what happened in each group. All right. Well, I think that's it. Anything I missed, Nat? Okay, great.
You are perfect. Enjoy your breakout groups, and we'll see you back here in 20 minutes.
See you soon. Welcome back. Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed your Ask If breakouts. I know that our group did for sure as well. We would love to hear how it went in your breakout room. Please share, have someone or multiple people from your breakout share the 3 words in the chat. We'd love to see what happened. All right, Emily, summary, new ideas and connections. Love it. Yeah, super fun and inspiring. People power and generosity. Great advice. Amazing. Love it. So great. So great. Please keep those comments coming. Diverse, generous, fabulous. Yes. We didn't get as far as 3 words, but great to meet some applicants and potential applicants. I hear you there. Inspiring stories, great mission, lots of gives, diverse, passionate, amazing connections happened. Love it. Great. So great. And yes, and for those of you who are joining us for the first time, a quick ask for you: if you are inspired by any of this or would like to have more of this, we are always looking for activators so that we can fund more ventures. And if you are a venture on this call and you are curious about potentially becoming a SheEO venture, I believe, Nat, correct me if I'm wrong, the deadline to apply is Monday? Yes, Monday, next Monday. So I can say that as it is the shortest application you will do for any level of funding. So please, if you are just even curious, do it, because even if you don't get it, you're going to get connected to some amazing women. You're going to get some great feedback on your business. So, you know, I can say it's worth the while because it's truly a very quick and simple application process. All right. Well, with that, I'm going to pass it over to Jessie, who has some updates from HQ. Over to you, Jessie.
Thank you so much, Jenny. And I just want to echo, if you are an entrepreneur who is creating a better world, really encourage you to apply today. The link's in the chat, the deadline's on Monday. There is a global community of activators who are excited to read your application and to provide support. Every entrepreneur who applies, you have a chance to make an ask within your application with what you most need help with. And that will be reviewed by activators in your country who might be able to support. So please consider it. We couldn't encourage you strongly enough. If you are interested in activating from today's call, I wanted to take a moment just to highlight a few core experiences. We know that you heard a lot from various speakers so far today, but I wanted to highlight. So if you do feel inspired and you want to activate, here is an overview of some of the core experiences that you can have as an activator in the community. First off, you will have a welcome experience. You can join a group welcome call hosted by myself or the amazing Nat, or you can opt in to have a one-on-one coffee chat. Pictured here is Dana Holland, one of our Canadian activators who has hosted many of these one-on-one calls. As soon as you sign up, you will immediately be invited to start participating in the community. We have weekly community calls that take place in every region every week, just like today's event. Similarly, you'll get to go into a breakout group or a one-on-one pair. You'll get to learn from SheEO Development Guide MJ Ryan about shifting our mindsets or transforming systems. And it's really a great way to start meeting other activators, building relationships, and asking for support and offering your support to others as well. Twice per year, once the venture applications are in, activators in the community get to go online, review them, and help vote to decide which ventures we will collectively fund and support. So really exciting. As just mentioned, the venture application deadline is on Monday, November 1st. So next Monday. And the first round of voting in the UK, US, and Canada is going to start next Friday, November 5th. So if you're interested in activating, this is an amazing time of year to do so. So you get to participate in both rounds of voting. And after those 2 rounds of voting, we will of course have a really exciting celebratory venture announcement. Just this past Monday, we announced the new ventures in Australia. And so it's a really exciting celebration with the community, and we would love to have you there. And last but not least, within the community, there are always opportunities to get to action on the world's to-do list. Of course, that's a key focus for us at SheEO. So you can join a venture deep dive, you can join a working group, like Emily mentioned, the storytellers working group at the beginning of the call. We have a racial justice working group and lots more that you can participate in if you would like to. Being an activator is on your own terms. So there are many different ways, as pictured here, that you can get involved, but it's really based on you, how much interest, time, and capacity you have. So if you'd like to get even more involved beyond this, we have a Slack community, an Ask and Give platform, learning circles, other tools and resources to really help you get the most of the community. If you are interested, signing up is super simple. You'll select your region. Your payment option in the UK, it's £71 per month or £850 for a year. And you'll enter your name and your email. And as soon as you do that, you will immediately be invited to start participating. So with that, we would love to launch a quick Zoom poll. Oh, I have the privileges here. So I've just launched it. And so 3 simple questions. Did you meet women or non-binary folks that you'd like to keep in touch with? Are you interested in getting more involved with the community? Again, if you're an entrepreneur, deadline to apply is Monday. One note is that you can be both an activator and apply as a venture in the same year. Many choose to do so, and we encourage you. It's a great way to hedge your bets, whether or not you are selected as a venture. And last but not least, for guests who are interested in activating, there's also an option to have a one-on-one coffee chat with an existing activator to hear about their personal experience. So let us know in the chat. Two last things. We would love to hear your feedback on how today's call was for you. So Nat's going to share the link in the chat. She already has, especially for first-time guests. We'd love your feedback. Let us know how this was, if you have any suggestions for improvement. And last but not least, if you're a first-timer here, we love to take a group photo with everyone who's here that we can share on LinkedIn and tag everyone. As a reminder, like Emily shared at the beginning of the call, she framed it beautifully. We would really love to invite everyone on this call, activators, ventures, and guests, to amplify your experience on social. What was different about this event for you? Was there anything special? Did anything stand out to you with the hashtag SheEO Magic? And so with that, I'm going to take a group photo. Would love to invite you to share a gesture with how you're feeling on today's call. 1, 2, 3. Let's see some more hands up. 1, 2, 3. Woohoo! Okay, there's a second screen. So if we can keep those hands up, keep those smiles, those hearts beaming. 1, 2, 3. Alrighty, thank you so much, everyone. We will be sharing, we'll be sending out a follow-up email tomorrow with links, resources, if you'd like to get more involved as well. Otherwise, we are so grateful for your time today, for your warmth, for your radical generosity. Thank you so much for joining, and hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye, Krishna.
Bye, Jesse.